good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the DD30 Sports Talk Show with your host, RAGZ. Of course, I got to give a shout out to all of my fans out there that have been giving me some great feedback, some great comments. They watch every episode. I'm definitely paying attention. I definitely appreciate all the love. I also got to give a special shout out to a very good friend of mine, Gabby. She made this chair for me. It was a custom order that I gave her. She's very talented, very creative. She put her hands on this. She said she's never done anything like this, but it didn't scare her enough to do it. So I love all my talented people. I'm glad she did it for me. I'll definitely put some links in the description, and I'll definitely put some more advertisement out there to make it easy for you guys to get at her for custom orders. So I got a very, very exciting episode for you guys today. We're going to talk about some football. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl coming up. I'm also going to talk about basketball. What a great season we got going on so far with LeBron James. At the age of 36, almost looking for an MVP in the MVP race. We also have some news on baseball with free agency going on and some big trades that happened over the week. I'm excited to get this show started. So get your popcorn, get your snack, and get ready for another episode. Let's go. Welcome back to the DD30 or DD30. And let's get down and dirty with all the great news in sports. And of course, we got to kick it off with football. It is football season. You know, the Super Bowl's around the corner. And of course, I love to make predictions and I love to make picks. That's what it's all about. Again, if you have predictions, if you have picks, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you let me know your opinion on the sport as well. But I mean, I do have to recap last weekend, which was championship weekend, and to say I was 2-0 in picks. You know, 2-0 in picks. I mean, this was the Super Bowl that I predicted. So I mean, it's only right that I went 2-0 last week. I got the matchup that I wanted. It's the Chiefs versus the Bucks. I think it's the matchup that everybody wants, right? You get to see the GOAT, Tom Brady, go against the future GOAT, everybody likes to call him, which is Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a lot of scoring. It's going to be a lot of fireworks. Can't wait to talk about that game, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Of course, I have to start off with my biggest disappointments when it came to last weekend. I got to talk about the Packers first. It was a big game, a great game, back and forth, had some controversy, had some great offensive plays, some great defensive plays, everything, right? But I'm definitely disappointed in the Packers. They did lose the game. Gotta be disappointed in their coach. I mean, the coach really lost them that game, if you want to ask me, if you want to be honest. Of course, everybody knows you have the 4th and goal play where they kick the field goal instead of going for the touchdown. Of course, you cannot make that mistake. I feel like you have to go for the win there. Even if you don't get the touchdown, you're going to need a stop anyway. So why kick the field goal and then hope for a stop when you could give your team a better chance to win if you just go ahead and go for that touchdown? Hey, if you don't get it, you still need to stop anyway. But you don't punt it back to them, give them so much room, give them so much freedom to run any type of play they want, really. I think that was a bad coaching move. Aaron Rodgers obviously was upset after the game. He didn't even get a chance to win the game, basically. People are giving Aaron Rodgers a lot of slack and a lot of, giving him a hard time because he didn't run it into the end zone on that play. From my point of view, it didn't really seem like it was a given that he would run in for a touchdown. I mean, it did look like that linebacker was spying on him. So, Aaron Rodgers is not the fastest guy in the league. So I don't know if he would outrun a very athletic linebacker, number 45, White. He was looking at him the whole time. So I can't blame this game on Aaron Rodgers. He had a great game. Got to blame it on the coach. The coach even admitted that he got out coached in that game. The experience definitely showed, and Bruce Arians came out on top with Tom Brady. Having Tom Brady on your team is like having a second coach. So, basically that's just how it happened. I feel like they got out coached. So you got to be disappointed in the Packers. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers wanting to trade later in the show. Also, my second disappointment is going to have to be the Bills, right? So this was a blowout. The Chiefs won in blowout fashion, 38-24. I was expecting more of a fight from them. Um, but, I mean, when you look at the paper, I guess you just see the Chiefs are the better team. I mean, they have the better weapons at receiver, even though Stephon Diggs is good. The Chiefs have Tyreek Hill, who is a top 3 receiver in the league right now. His speed is unmatched. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. So that's the weapons that you have when you're going against the Chiefs. Also, you got Travis Kelce, which is one of the more underrated weapons. He's probably the best weapon on their team. Matchup nightmare. You can't guard him with a linebacker. You can't guard him with a small guy. We'll talk about Travis Kelce later in the show. But they just were overmatched. I mean, maybe you're just disappointed that they didn't fight a little bit more. I thought the game was going to be a lot closer. But it seemed like the Chiefs, they just knew what they were going to do. Even when they got behind early, there was no panic in the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes was seen on the sideline giving his team some speeches, keeping them in high spirit. So Patrick Mahomes is the type of leader that will his team to win. They believe in what he says because he's such a great talent. You know, he's going to show out and he's going to perform anyway. So he's confident in his abilities. So the Bills are just overmatched. Maybe next year. They're going to have to establish a little bit more of a run game. It looks like they just came out and their idea of trying to win that game was to throw with Patrick Mahomes. And I think that was a mistake. You can't try to out-throw Patrick Mahomes. Like, you're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to create some turnovers. You're going to have to be a little bit different other than just trying to, score 40 points with them, right? So I don't think that's the thing you can want to do. So the Bills, their time will come. Next, I got my biggest surprise from the weekend. Of course, you got to talk about Tom Brady going to his 10th Super Bowl now. I mean, at the age of 43, old man is still doing his thing. It's definitely amazing. It's definitely something to talk about. Tom Brady, I mean, the way he looks, I mean, who could say he can't play another 5 years and be a, almost 50-year-old quarterback in this league? I doubt it. But, I mean, it seems like at this pace, he's going to try to play as many years as he can to try to just, add more notches to his belt and more accolades, because Tom Brady seems like he just loves to play the game of football. You definitely notice that in him. And, hey, make him rip the jersey off your back. I'm not against that. Have a good time with it. Have fun. And do your thing, Tom Brady. I'm definitely surprised that I did pick you guys to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm not surprised you guys are there, but I'm surprised that you are doing this well, and it's got to be talked about. Also, the Chiefs, they look unstoppable. Of course, they're my pick to win the Super Bowl. I haven't, went away from that since the start of the season. I picked them early in the season. They just look, again, everywhere you look, there's weapons. Everywhere you look, somebody's running a 4-4 or under. Everywhere you look, they're matchup nightmare. So I like their offense better than the Bucs offense. The Bucs defense is probably going to be the X factor in this game. Will they be able to get enough pass rush on Patrick Mahomes? But not only that, can they contain him from making those improvising plays where he makes a little bit of something out of nothing? That's real. That's where they get a lot of their chunk plays, where Patrick Mahomes just keeps the play alive and you got guys running behind zones and finding that weak spot. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for when it comes to football. And we'll talk about the Super Bowl picks and more football a little bit later in the show. But again, on the 30, or down in 30, I have to talk about another big deal news or event that happened this week. And it was the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's actually different, or I wouldn't say different, just a little strange, because nobody was elected to go into the Hall of Fame this year. I will put up some graphics. But yeah, Curt Schilling, he's he's getting the biggest news because he's the one that's getting so close. He has the Hall of Fame resume, especially when you talk about the postseason. He's been snubbed for 9 years now. There was news that he actually wants to be taken off of the ballot, et cetera, et cetera. I'm definitely going to be talking about the Hall of Fame a little bit more, but that's definitely a big deal. Nobody was elected this year. So next season is going to be the big talk of who's going to get in that year, with a lot of big names like Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz, Mark Teixeira, just to say a few. Will there be 2 years in a row without there being an inductee? So a lot of good chatter, a lot of talk, a lot of great news going on with Down and Dirty. So stick with me. We got some more news coming up right after this message. All right.
You still here? Like, comment, and subscribe to Dirty Network all day.
You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good,
Welcome
the
back.
bad, the
Welcome
dirty.
my sports fans, my people. All right. So next segment, of course, is Dirtbag. You guys know I love this segment. Dirtbag, of course, is a segment where I pick out a special guy, just to talk about, somebody who might not be getting as much publicity as I think they should, or might be underrated. So today on Dirtbags, I'm going to talk about my boy Travis Kelce. I kind of gave you guys a hint at it a little bit earlier. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this man, of course, yes, the Super Bowl is around the corner. But I feel like this man, he has been breaking all type of records as a tight end, and I don't think he's getting the respect that he deserves. Like, he's been a Chief forever, right? He's grown up a Chief. He's played there. I don't have how many years he's been in the league, but he was drafted by the Chiefs, right? So he's been one of their better players for a long time. Now, for the past couple of years, he's really shined. He's had some breakout type seasons, over 100 receptions and over 1,000 yards, right? So the reason why I want to talk about Travis Kelce is he might get a little bit overshadowed by Patrick Mahomes sometimes in my books. But Patrick Mahomes is lucky that he has a tight end like Travis Kelce. I don't think we would talk about Patrick Mahomes the way that we do if he didn't have a weapon like Travis Kelce. Again, he might be arguably the biggest weapon in NFL, and that means running back, wide receiver, you name it. He might be one of the biggest weapons, because like I said, I haven't seen every time you watch the Chiefs game, he's getting 10 receptions, and he's always wide open, running after the catch, after contact, making big plays. This guy, he's broken so many records, as I see. He broke the records for most receiving yards by a tight end in 2018. That record was broken by George Kittle the next year. So what does he do this year? He comes back and breaks that record. So he's definitely doing his thing. The most receiving yards by a tight end in NFL history. He broke that record this year. So now he's number 1 and 3 on that record. So he's definitely doing his thing. Travis Kelce, he's one of my favorite players to watch. Definitely got to give him a big shout out. Again, if you want to sit in this chair and tell me who you think deserves some more love, please let me know. Leave a comment. Shoot me a message on Facebook. You know where to find me at. So we could go ahead and talk about your underrated guy or your underrated sport. We're here to talk. We're here to chop it up. So that's my dirt bag of the week. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the dirt right after this message. All right?
Like, comment, and subscribe to the Dirty Network. It's just different.
You got the good, the bad, the
Welcome
dirty,
back,
how you
sports
live.
fans. DDTV in the building. All right. And it's time to wrap it up with the dirt, of course. So this is basically the main news segment. Everybody knows how it goes, right? Again, if there's a topic that you want to talk about, please hit me up on Facebook. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, I don't know why. The network is going to be viral eventually, all right? So be the one that be the foundation of my network, all right? Be the foundation of my subscribers. Make sure you subscribe right now, all right, if you're watching this. Now, what we're going to talk about, my favorite sport. First, we're going to talk about some baseball, all right? So there's been some great news in free agency. We had a lot of movement going on over the past couple weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about a couple free agency moves that were key this year, or I'm sorry, this offseason. And this year, same thing. So first, got to talk about my man, JT Realmuto, the catcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. He just re-upped with them. He signed a big deal, 5 years, $115 million. Now, that is a huge contract for a catcher. If I'm not mistaken, that is a record for a catcher. making big time money. He definitely deserves it. I know the Phillies were put in a tough position because all of their fans wanted Real Muto back. Bryce Harper wanted him back. So JT was sitting in a good spot where he could just sit back, relax, and let the money stack up, or else he didn't have to take the deal. The Phillies get the deal done. They needed to get the deal done, especially if they're going to compete in that division. The NL East is a very tough division. So they're definitely going to need some bats. They're definitely going to need a catcher like Real Muto. He's a competitive player. I love his game. I've always loved his game, even when he was a Marlin. So definitely a good sign there. Also got to talk about the Blue Jays. They've been making a lot of noise this offseason. Not only did they sign George Springer, which we talked about in the episode last week, this week they signed Marcus Semien to a one-year deal, $18 million if I'm not mistaken. A very low-risk, high-reward type deal because it's only a one-year deal. It does seem like the Blue Jays are trying really hard to push. They do see there's a little bit of an opportunity to jump in the AL East, which they're not wrong about, even though you better watch out for my Red Sox, right? You better watch out for them because we're not done. We're not just going to come in last place. We don't be surprised if we win the division. But that's predictions are going to come later when it comes to baseball. But, yeah, the Blue Jays seem like they're making some deals. They're trying to make some moves. Marcus Semien, he's a great asset. He's a great defender at shortstop. Power bat. He can hit for average. Very solid player. A little bit underrated in my book. You might see him on Dirtbag one of these days. But he's a very underrated player. Just a couple years ago, he finished third in MVP. This guy, he's definitely putting up some pretty good numbers. He's a great defender. The Blue Jays definitely got a steal to only have to give this man a one-year deal. So the Blue Jays are making some noise. They just made a trade for Steven Matz, a pitcher from the Mets that they traded for, a left-hand pitcher. Again, they traded a couple prospects away. I'm not too familiar with the prospects that they gave away. But this seemed like a low-risk, high-reward type deal because Steven Matz, he has had a couple of bumpy seasons, but he has a lot of great potential. If you've watched Steven Matz pitch, he's got some good stuff from the left side, good speed, 90-plus fastball, good breaking ball. Maybe a change of scenery will be a good thing for him. The Blue Jays definitely need as many starting pitchers as they could get at this point if they really want to push in the AL, because the AL has a lot of great hitters, so you're going to need some arms. They have a good mix of young arms, too, so maybe Matz could come in and be a good mentor for the younger guys. I think that was a really good deal for them. Maybe they push for another pitcher. I know James Paxton is also out there. James Paxton would be a great fit for the Blue Jays. Of course, everybody knows he's a Canadian, big left-handed pitcher, somebody that would do well in that stadium if they ever play back in Rogers Center. But, I think that's a good deal. I hope the Red Sox take a look at James Paxton. I think that's somebody that we should have an eye on too, because if he's healthy, he's maybe not a number one right now or a number two, but he's definitely somebody that gives your pitching rotation some depth. So definitely looking out for that. So trades. So since we're talking about trades, there's been some great trades also as well. Actually, a very unique trade that I want to talk about, because it was a trade between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Now, trades like this don't happen a lot, but when they do happen, they make big news, right? Of course, everybody knows the trade between Babe Ruth and the the Yankees and the Red Sox that involved Babe Ruth, right? We traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees for money, basically. Just I believe it was $1,000, whatever the cash was at that time. And of course, everybody knows the story of Babe Ruth and how he ended up, right? We don't have to go back to that, all right? But this trade is interesting because we received a piece, Adam Ottavino, to add to our bullpen. Now, Adam Ottavino, he is a very solid relief pitcher. Maybe not the closer type, but he has good setup stuff, good, he's a stopgap guy. If your starting pitcher is struggling, he could give you an inning or two to get you to your big guys in the back, or he could set up. I don't really see him as a closer at this time. I could be wrong. I mean, like I said, you can look at his stuff. It could be good. He has a devastating slider. He's one of the dirtiest right-handed sliders that I've seen in the game. So I could be wrong when it comes to him not closing. But I think the Red Sox got this at a great deal. It seems like the Yankees had to do this just to unload a little bit of cash, which is funny to say. I mean, the Yankees unloading cash? Is that what you're telling me? You guys are trying to get under the luxury tax? Is that what it is? The Yankees. Okay. This is fun for me. I mean, because I think we got a good deal to get the pitcher that we wanted. And we definitely need some more arms. The Red Sox, when I say we. Definitely need some more arms to go into that bullpen. We could use another starting pitcher or two, I say. And the market is robust this year, so I believe we should get some good starting pitching. If we can't trade for it, definitely in free agency. So I'll definitely be looking out for that. But the Yankees did get Jameson Taillon and a deal from the Pirates. This makes sense for them because they need starting pitching. Again, they did give up a lot of prospects to get this player. No, he doesn't make a lot of money. I think he's like at a $9 million contract for this year. But he gives you some stability if he's healthy. So this is a more higher risk player because he hasn't been healthy in a while. Will he be healthy for the full season? Will you be able to utilize his talents, or is he just going to be on the IL, the injured list, right? So this one is definitely a good one to look out for. They definitely needed a starting pitcher, especially with Tanaka going over to Japan and signing in Japan instead of back to the Yankees. So I'm pretty sure that league over there offered him a good amount of money. Or maybe he just was a little homesick and he did his thing here in the USA and now he wants to go back home. So can't blame him for that. So that was most of the trade news that I have here. And again, okay, so now it's time to talk about the Hall of Fame. Definitely want to talk about the Hall of Fame again. Again, Curt Schilling is saying that he wants to be left off the ballot for next year. Next year's ballot has controversy all over it. I cannot wait. Next year is the last year for Barry Bonds, Curt Schilling, and Roger Clemens to be on the ballot. Those three have been the closest the past couple of years. I think they hover around 70. Well, Curt Schilling hovers over 70, 71%. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, they're more like I think high 50, low 60s. So doubt that they'll get in next year. Curt Schilling, if he doesn't want to be on the list, I mean, of course he won't be on there. I mean, he won't make it if he's not on the list or on the ballot. But I'm sure he's going to be on the ballot. Maybe he just doesn't get in that way. Again, it's very interesting. I think Curt Schilling is a Hall of Famer just because of what he's done in the postseason. People want to keep him off or out of the Hall of Fame because of character and things that he said. And I get it. Like, I don't agree with everything Curt Schilling says as a person, but you cannot deny the baseball player that he was, the moments that he had in the postseason. You can't take that away from him, you know? So I'm basing it just off of those numbers, those stats, and what he's done on the field. It's not the Hall of Fame of nice people. I mean, we have people in the Hall of Fame that didn't want black people to play baseball at all. So if you want to be real, you can't really say character clause is the reason why he's not in. Because I don't see people getting extra votes because they were such a great person. You know, like they say, they talk about Dale Murphy was such a great guy, but he's not in the Hall of Fame because he's such a great guy. Like, they didn't give him extra votes, and he's on the outside looking in. So don't dock people and say, oh, I just don't agree with who they are. That sounds a little petty to me, honestly. So the fans, I do want to hear the fans' opinion. Like I said, should A-Rod be in? Should David Ortiz be in? Things like that. So that's definitely going to be something fun to watch out for. All right. So, in other news, got to talk about a little basketball here. You know, we playing ball. So, LeBron, got to give it up to the man. He's on his way to another MVP. And you cannot deny the type of talent he is and how he makes his team so much better, right? This Lakers team, well, they did lose their last two games, all right? So they're 14-6, but he has the Lakers as a top seed in the West, just like they were last year, just like they were the year before that, before he got injured. and he's doing it again this year. The guy just knows how to win. He knows how to play basketball. You could tell he loves the sport. He might play till he's 40, 45 like Tom Brady. I just don't see a league without LeBron James. Maybe that's just me because, he's basically my generation. But, LeBron James is definitely doing some special stuff. He's averaging 26 points a game, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. Again, Lakers are one of the top records in the West. They're doing some big things on the road and at home. Got to give them their props. He's definitely number one in the MVP race right now. I know we talked about this last week. KD is definitely on his heels, though. You got to give KD some love to be averaging 30 points a game off of an Achilles injury. The way KD, he just knows basketball. Like when he says it's just basketball, it's just basketball. It's really just basketball to him. He's just a mismatch. He is a nightmare. I can only imagine having to guard somebody like KD. The dude's 7 foot tall, and he's bringing the ball up court with a crossover that could get to any spot that he wants. The kid is unreal. I love watching him play. So, gotta watch out for KD. I feel like it's going to be a two-man race this year. It's going to be LeBron or KD. With Joker, and Embiid. I got to give Embiid some love, too. Let me not gloss over Embiid. Embiid looks like he's on a mission to show people that he means business. He wants the ring. He is a matchup nightmare as well. Big guys are not dead in the game because they have Embiid. Embiid is a monster. I love him too. So great basketball going on right now. I love to watch basketball. These guys are so talented. I've never seen the NBA like this. There's so many talented players on. It seems like almost every team, right? So let's talk about some basketball trades because this is going to be a very popular discussion. Especially getting closer to the All-Star break and getting closer to the trade deadline. This is going to be a big topic. So let's talk about it now. And again, if you believe you got some great trades that I'm not talking about, please leave a comment. Please send me a message or say something. Just leave a comment and tag me. I'll find it in the comments. Right? So trades, right? And of course, we got to talk about Bradley Beal because he is going to be the hottest trade commodity this season. Right, everybody's going to want a little piece of Bradley Beal. Right now, he's leading the NBA in scoring, 33 points a game, right? So if you need somebody who's going to give you instant offense, he's definitely got you there. He's somebody that could drop 40 to 50 points in his sleep. He just needs a supporting cast. He's with the Washington Wizards, who have the worst record in the NBA. It's a shame that they're suffering with Russell Westbrook. Again, they just need a clean house and start over. This is the time to do it. Bradley Beal is in his prime. Trade him to somebody that can give you assets and help you rebuild your team. Like, for instance, I see Bradley Beal going to a team like the Heat. The Heat, I know they're struggling right now, but they need some more offense from what I've watched. Jimmy Butler has been in and out of the lineup. Dragic right now, they're leaning on him very heavily, but he's a little bit older of a player. So they would need somebody that could go in there, give them instant offense, give them a shot in their arm. Eric Spoelstra, one of the better coaches in the league, definitely would know how to use him. So I see Heat as being one of the destinations for him. Also, you got to look at the 76ers. I feel like he fits that team like a glove. Unfortunately, even if you have to give up a player like Ben Simmons, you might have to do that. And the reason why is Bradley Beal just stretches the field out. He stretches the court. And to put him with Embiid, now you have a kick-out shooter. You got Embiid in the post. I just imagine that dominating for years. Bradley Beal and Embiid on the 76ers. And you might have to give up Ben Simmons, which might be the best deal that the Washington Wizards can get. So it might be something to look out for, the Philadelphia Phillies. I know some people have talked about the Mavericks as well. That might not be a bad fit for him as well. The Clippers is another one, and the Bucks as well. But again, I'm thinking about what can they give up? What can the Bucks really give up? What can the Clippers really give up that they haven't given up already? The Clippers don't have anything, So I'm thinking the 76ers or the Heat because the 76ers have Ben Simmons to flip. Okay. Also, got to talk about Kevin Love and Drummond. They're also on their way out of Cleveland, it seems like, from reports. Cleveland's going to try to save some money this season, and those are their two biggest paychecks. So getting rid of these guys would seem like a logical idea, right? And what I'm thinking is, of course, there's talks that Drummond might get a buyout, or there might be a buyout or a trade or something like that to the Brooklyn Nets. And I feel like those two would fit the Nets perfectly. And here's why. They do need a little bit more size off the bench, and they need a little bit more firepower as well. Kevin Love can come off the bench. He could be a great sixth guy. I think he'll be somebody that could give them depth. Also, he can, give them size, leadership. He's won a championship before. I know he has to be bored in Cleveland. Go ahead and make another championship push with some guys that you've been around. You've been around Kyrie before. I feel like that would be a great fit. If the Nets can get Love and they could get Drummond, I feel like that would solidify them in the East. I know they've been kind of going back and forth with their lineup lately since they've made the trade for Harden, but they're just trying to get a feel for everything. And I feel like once they get into the middle of the season, you'll start seeing a 10-game, 15-game winning streak out of them, or they'll have a big streak, and then we're going to say, wow, this team is really dangerous. But they are missing that 1 and 2. They're missing a couple of pieces that could go on the bench. They do need a little bit more depth. I love the shooters that they have on the team. Joe Harris is great, but they do need a little bit more size when it comes to the bench, right? Because I don't like watching KD play the 5. Like, I've been seeing KD play the 5. That's good for spurts, but you're not going to be able to rely on that, right? So, got to wrap up the show with a little bit of football talk, right? So, I'm not going to talk about the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm talking about the news on all of these quarterbacks that want to be traded now. The quarterback carousel, like they like to call it, is going to be spinning like crazy this year because quarterbacks are going to be going all over the place this year, right? There's going to be probably 15 teams with new starting quarterbacks to begin the season. It's really crazy to say that, but that might be the case, right? So let's talk about Aaron Rodgers first, right? Because I feel like this is the easy one for me. So, of course, everybody's making a big deal about Aaron Rodgers. Should he want to leave? They drafted a number 1 quarterback last draft, et cetera, et cetera. My thing is, Aaron Rodgers, you're getting close. You're getting so close. Like, a lot of teams can't say that they make it to the NFC Championship game every year. And I get it, if losses are frustrating. But I think Green Bay, they just need... Like, what else are they going to do without Aaron Rodgers? That's what I say. Like, I cannot imagine that team without Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, the things that he's able to do for that team, the plays he's able to make, the audibles that he calls from the line. He's a coach on the field. He's a field general, like they call him, right? He makes everybody better, right? So I just don't see these two teams like, one is the other, right? Kind of like Tom Brady with the Patriots. But they just have to break through. I think their coach has to have a little bit better game plan next time because you can't get out-coached in the game right before the Super Bowl. You cannot do that. So should Aaron Rodgers want to leave? No, he shouldn't. But he should demand better assets from the team. Like, go out and get me a better receiver to go with Adams. Give me a better defensive player so I don't have to put up 40 points a game. Do things that'll help us get to the Super Bowl now. We have a team that can win the Super Bowl now. And that's what you need to put in their ear. So if you got to trade Jordan Love, do it. Right? That's the kid's name, right? I don't know the kid's name. All right. Anyway. So Matthew Stafford is another big name, right? Another big name quarterback that should be on the move. It seems like they've already discussed parting ways, Detroit and the quarterback. So it seems like he's on the move. So I'm going to talk about their best fit. And again, this is your network. This is your show. If you have a better fit than what I have, please leave a comment. Please let me know. Say, Matthew Stafford should go here. You know how it goes. Y'all do it on all the other YouTube stuff anyway. Do it on mine, right? So Matthew Stafford, he's got a couple great fits. I mean, a lot of teams would like him as a quarterback, but I'll just talk about a few just for now. Of course, the obvious is the Indianapolis Colts. I think everybody's been talking about this one. Phillip Rivers is retired. The Colts, they always seem like they're just a quarterback away. They have a good defense. They have some solid receivers, solid running games, a great offensive line. Definitely somebody that Matthew Stafford could make noise with. They have some good cap room as well, so they could pay him and go ahead and get him another receiver if he needs it. Or maybe a tight end. Looks like that would be something that they would need. But, that's a good fit for them. Also, got to say the Patriots are a good fit. The Patriots need a quarterback, but they need a lot of stuff as well. I don't think Matthew Stafford fixes the Patriots all by himself. So maybe that would be a harder deal to get done than the Colts. And, of course, the Steelers. But the Steelers, I feel like the Steelers are going to want to keep Ben Roethlisberger for another year, which might take them out of this sweepstake, unless they don't want to bring back, I can't think. Unless they don't want to bring back Roethlisberger, then, they'll make that trade. But if they don't want to bring back Big Ben, they'll probably go ahead and make that trade. But if they do, they won't. So there's that. And then, of course, the biggest news out of the NFL has to be Deshaun Watson officially requesting a trade. Now, Deshaun Watson is one of the best. This is going to be one of the biggest trades in NFL history. He's one of the best quarterbacks that's ever been on the trade market, period. Like, you can't get quarterbacks like this on the trade market, because when you get this type of player, you keep them, and you keep them as long as you can. And you sign them to another contract until they try to leave, You just don't lose these type of players. So this is definitely a big trade asset. He does have a no-trade clause, which makes it better for him. So he'll be able to pick the destination he wants. They can't just, ship him off to Detroit and just do a swap over there. So, he could actually go to a place where he wants to go, which is great for him. I'm happy for him for that. So what are his best fits, you might ask? I'm going to give you my best fits again. Let me know your best fits. Leave those comments. But the best fit for me would have to be number one, Miami, the Dolphins, right? Now, the Dolphins are a quarterback away. And honestly, I've watched a lot of Tua Tagovailoa. I can't say the name. I've watched a lot of Tua Tagovailoa, however you say his name. It's not that impressive to me, okay? I didn't see a lot. I didn't see promise. I didn't see, and again, I could be wrong. I'm not the biggest analyst of them all, I don't know everything. I could be wrong. But from what I've seen, it seems like he's not going to be an elite tier quarterback. Like, he might be able to do things for you. He'll help your team win. Don't get me wrong. But he's not an elite type quarterback like Deshaun Watson, right? He's not Deshaun Watson. He's not going to be Deshaun Watson, right? This is Deshaun Watson we're talking about here. Clemson quarterback, man, right? This dude is a special talent. So to get your hands on him, Miami has the draft capital. They could go ahead and send Tua over to the Texans and let them worry about that. On top of that, they'll get draft capital for him as well. The Miami Dolphins do have the number 3 pick, so if they don't like Tua, they could draft another quarterback. They could trade out of that pick and get more picks. It just makes too much sense. Like, don't bring a guy back that's not happy there. Get the best deal that you can before the draft happens, or else you're not going to get a good deal at all. Also, another good fit, you got to say the Bears. Chicago, again, we talked about this before. You messed up not drafting him, so why not make it all right with your fans and just trade for him, right? Now, you don't have to worry about signing Trubisky. Give out a couple deals. Hey, I don't care if you got to give him a first-round pick for the next 3-4 years. You guys made the mistake. Fix the mistake. You're not going to find Deshaun Watson in the draft ever again unless you get the next 5 or 6 number 1 picks. Then maybe you'll get it right at least once. But on top of that, this kid is special. He can't miss. Chicago will love him to death. On top of that, you guys have great football fans up there. Why not give them a quarterback that you can say, that's our guy forever, and not have to worry about it, right? Also, I got to have a couple honorable mentions. Every team wants Deshaun Watson, right? Every team wants Deshaun Watson. So I got to mention the 49ers and the Rams, the 2 LA teams, or the 2 California teams, I should say. Why not? The Rams already seem like they're not behind Jared Goff. You heard their GM talk about, he's the quarterback for us right now on this day, 126. He's the quarterback. That scared the hell out of me if I was Jared Goff. I'd be like, let me just go ahead and pack my bags now, right? So, with that being said, those teams would definitely need him. There's also other teams. We've talked about the Jets, but the Jets need more than just a quarterback. So I wouldn't say the Jets as a top candidate. I wouldn't put the Jets as a top candidate for getting Deshaun Watson. because he might decline that trade. I don't see him as the top option for the Jets because they might decline that trade. But you never know. I mean, maybe he wants to take that team to the top. But it seems like he wants to go to an organization that's about winning, that's about improvement, that, you know, that's about culture too, not just about playing football. Deshaun Watson seems like he wants to be a difference maker in the community, and I love that about him. So let's get a deal for Deshaun Watson soon. Again, you guys tell me your best fit, all right? So that's all the news I got for you guys. Thanks again for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end the show. You make sure you subscribe, and you make sure you follow, and make sure you see me later. It's DDTV signing out. DDTV, your network. Thanks again for watching, guys. Check me out, all right?
The dirty, how you live? You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live? You got the good, the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.